Even Marvel veterans who have followed the MCU for 15 years and are well-versed in comic book culture may be perplexed at times throughout Quantumania. This third Ant-Man film, which is a direct sequel to Avengers, Endgame and the Loki TV series, as well as the first two Ant-Man films, not only alludes to Kang's comic book past, but it also incorporates other subtle references and secret tidbits from the Ant-Man franchise and the rest of the MCU, which means you missed a lot of Easter eggs. Don't believe us? Well, then here are 8 deep-cut Quantumania Easter eggs that only comic readers found. Number 1. The Council of Kangs and Kang's Time Chair. A complete Council of Kangs is convened in some type of arena beyond space and time in the Quantumania mid-credits scene. The concept, along with the sequence's final visual, is based on a Marvel Comics storyline in which they were known as the Cross-Time Kangs. Cross-Time Kangs are a group of thousands of Kang variants scattered across the cosmos. In the comics, they enlist the help of the Kang from the main Marvel universe to get the universe's most powerful weapon. What the MCU's Council of Kangs or the Cross-Time Kangs are up to remains unknown. Kang the Conqueror in the MCU was both quite serious and reasonably close to the comics. Before his exile to the Quantum Realm, Quantumania completely realized his costume, his talents, and the amazing technology that allowed him to traverse through time. Kang the Conqueror first met Jan Van Dyne in the Quantum Realm, where they collaborated to rebuild his one-of-a-kind ship. When it was fully restored, comic book enthusiasts immediately recognized it as Kang's iconic time chair. He made his comic book debut with the chair in Stan Lee and Jack Kirby's Kang the Conqueror. From Avengers Comic Books Issue 8, released in September 1964, when he assaulted the Avengers. Number 2. Janet's mention of Subatomica teased Psychoman. In the Microverse, Ant-Man and the Avengers both had their own experiences. The Fantastic Four, on the other hand, was one of the first teams to shrink down in order to explore another realm. Quantumania even alluded to one of the Fantastic Four's greatest villains home in the Microverse. When they initially arrived, Janet Van Dyne attempted to explain the structure of the quantum realm to her inquiring husband Hank. She disclosed the existence of a world known as Subatomica. Subatomica was once its own star system in the Microverse, but it was subsequently united with the other worlds to form a unified realm. Psychoman, an emotion-manipulating villain, is one of Submost Atomica's well-known denizens. Psychoman, who comes from the planet Train, built his emotion-altering control box as well as the huge robotic body he possesses in order to attack the Fantastic Four at their own size. He has been threatening the Fantastic Four for years with his emotion-manipulating technologies and formidable robotic body. Number 3. Incursions. In the end credits scenes of Quantumania, the Council of Kangs teased another interesting Easter egg from the comics. Viewers of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness 2022 may have recognized the term used by the multiversal Illuminati as well. Kang explains to Janet that his variants are causing incursions throughout the multiverse. In Multiverse of Madness, John Krasinski's Reed Richards warned Doctor Strange about the same phenomenon. An incursion occurs when the boundary between two universes erodes and they collide, destroying one or both entirely, he explained there. In a never-ending sequence of intrusions, alternate realities fought for survival, resulting in the emergence of a new multiverse. The concept of universal invasions is inspired by a recent Marvel narrative that resulted in the crossover comics Secret Wars, which also happens to be the title of the 6th Avengers film. The Avengers Secret War movie in 2026 will most likely show the aftermath of the MCU's terrible incursions. Number 4. Kang's Quantum Realm Citadel connects with Chronopolis and Victor Timely. Kang the Conqueror quickly recreated his technology after the Council of Kangs exiled him to the Quantum Realm and utilized it to conquer fresh territories. Despite opposition from the Quantum Realm's liberation warriors, Kang erected his high-tech city base. Kang's vast city resembled Chronopolis, another city he established in the comics. The comic book city, on the other hand, is outside of space and time in limbo and is guarded by the monster Alioth, whom we saw in Loki. Another Easter egg is that it was also linked to Kang's human persona of Victor Timely, who created the city of Timely. Victor Timely was a reincarnation of Kang. He journeyed to the early 20th century, and from there he transformed himself into an Industrial Revolution leader. Marvel Comics was launched in the 1930s as Timely Comics. The name was later modified to recognize Timely's very first book, Marvel Comics, when the Human Torch and Submariner first appeared. Number 5. Jan's rescue was referenced by Cassie Lang's signal. By chance, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Quantumania launched a detailed research of the quantum realm. Cassie Lang created a device that broadcast a signal to the quantum realm, alerting the wacky Marvel villain MODOK to their existence. In the comics, the Avengers were alerted to a problem in the Microverse by a similar message. The The Avengers traveled to the Microverse during Brian Michael Bendis, Brandon Peterson, and Mike Mayhew's End Times storyline from Avengers Comic Series Issue 31, released in December 2012. They rescued Wasp while becoming embroiled in a war reminiscent of Quantumania's events. Number 6. Linda and Nadia. Quantumania also delves into Janet Van Dyne's stay in the quantum realm. Hank Pym encountered Jan's ex-lover Lord Kryler, and this prompted him to divulge his own personal history. Hank makes a surprising confession in the film after learning about Janet's quantum realm liaisons with Bill Murray's Kryler during her 30-year stay in the subatomic realm. He too had a love affair, and he refers to her as Linda. While Linda and Hank Pym have rarely appeared together in Marvel Comics, they did both make their debuts around the same time. With Pym appearing just a year after Linda and Tails to astonish issue 27, there are chances that Linda Carter might be the Linda Hank dated from 1987 to 1989. Stan Lee and Al Hartley introduced Linda Carter in 1961 with Linda Carter, Student Nurse Issue 1. Linda's comics, which were one of Marvel's first female-led projects, featured her slice-of-life exploits as a medical student and nurse practitioner at New York's Metro General Hospital. Her adventures had nothing to do with Marvel's growing superhero franchise until she was saved by a superhero and motivated to put on the alias Night Nurse. In the position, she secretly provided medical care for a number of heroes and later became Doctor Strange's love interest. The comic version of Hank Pym never dated anyone named Linda. Nevertheless, before assuming his Ant-Man costume character, he was married to a woman named Maria. Russian Red Room agents murdered her and covertly reared their daughter Nadia in the Red Room. She escaped and became the unstoppable Wasp, which could hint at a new MCU character. Number 7. Kang's most famous variants. Several of Kang's variants are introduced in the first post-credits sequence. We met he who remains in Loki. As the timeline is split apart, he claims that his variants spark a multiversal war. It has the potential to destroy everything. When Sylvie stabbed He Who Remains in the chest, it shattered the sacred timeline and split time into many possible alternate realities. Kang appears differently in each universe. As a result, there are nearly unlimited variants of the Insane Conqueror. During the first post-credits sequence, we are exposed to 3 of these versions. 3 of Kang's variants appear to be in control of the Council of Kangs. Any longtime Marvel fan will recognize 2 of them right away. The first is Ramatut, which is an Egyptian-themed one. He is a variant who traveled back in time to ancient Egypt in order to rule the entire world. The second is the variant of Kang's Scarlet Centurion. Kang in this version came from a world where humanity never fell into the Dark Ages. Even though it's just a younger version of himself, he is thought to be Kang's descendant. The third one is Immortus, the most powerful variant. Based on all the numerous Kangs who featured in comics throughout the years, Iron Lad, Scarlet Centurion, his costume doesn't immediately look like any of them. The Council of Kangs is then introduced to us. This is adapted from the comics in which each version of Kang gathers to strategize how they may all take over their own realities. Number 8. Micronauts have been reimagined by the Quantum Freedom Fighters. There weren't many journeys to the Microverse that didn't include the Micronauts. Micronauts, they are a comic team now known as Enigma Force. Rights difficulties have hampered further investigation of the Micronauts, though the MCU recreated a few members for Quantumania. Despite the absence of additional exploration was one of Quantumania's major disappointments, supporters still liked the new team. Scott, Hope, and Cassie came into a gang of freedom fighters led by a powerful woman named Jentorra. Jentorra is a member of the Micronauts in the comics, but she is also the niece of Hulk's old flame Jarella. Quaz, like Enigma Force leader Arcturus Rand, was a low-level telepath. Veb, like Bug, played a comedic role, and Solom had similar abilities to Cyclops.